Hey, and welcome. This is Kevin Doherty with Dream Practice Coaching. Great to have you here with me today. So this is a three-part video series called the Six-Figure Practice Formula. And I'm going to cover 6 simple steps you can take to reach 6 figures without stress or struggle. Today's video is called the Technique-Free Shift into True Abundance. And this video in particular is really going to emphasize the without stress or struggle part of this equation. And as you know, that's absolutely essential to your success, to true success in private practice. So I have a ton of great content to share with you today. This is going to be a rather unorthodox video and approach that I'll lay out. It'll maybe test a lot of, or challenge a lot of what you've conventionally been taught, and I see that as a good thing. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I want to make sure you're in the right place. Who is this for? This is for wellness practitioners who are relatively new to the world of private practice and want to shortcut their success. So if you're an acupuncturist, a chiropractor, a naturopath, a therapist of any kind, or really a healer of any kind, and you're either starting this journey of private practice or you've been at it for a while right now and you want to really accelerate your growth, this video series is for you. And if you're more established in practice, like you've been at this maybe a few years, but you have not hit 6 figures in revenue yet, this is also for you. This video series is for you if you're serious about your practice and you want to maximize your income and impact. So if I have to convince you of the idea that, hey, if you're out there doing great work, you own a business, you're helping lots of people, that making a lot of money in that process is a really good and valuable thing, this probably isn't for you. If you already get that and it's like common sense to you, then you're in the right place. And I want to teach you exactly how to do that, okay? All right, so this video series is designed to show you some very specific things. This is a proven pathway to a thriving 6-figure practice, even if you're up against a lot of competition, challenges with insurance, or you have a lot of evidence from your past that this isn't possible for you. And I'm going to show you how to do this while completely eliminating all stress, struggle, and suffering from the daily process of creating your vision. And I know that's a big promise, but I will show you a pathway today that it's absolutely true. If you really engage with this material, it really does eliminate most or all of what you would call stress, struggle, suffering, all of that, okay? This is a refreshingly new approach that gets you off the hamster wheel of success. So the first thing I want to do before I jump into the content, I want to talk about the big elephant in the room, okay? So let's go ahead and just jump into that. I know you've watched some videos like this before, and you've thought to yourself, you're probably thinking that right now, here we go again. It's another free video series or whatever, and some random coach on the internet is going to show me how to get rich doing what I love. And there's something in you that just says, yeah, right, right? And I totally get that. I mean, I'm a coach who does this kind of work, and I feel the exact same way. So much of what's out there online now does lend itself to skepticism and just a feeling of like, come on, man, you're kind of wasting my time. So I assure you this is going to be very different in this video series. You're as sick as I am of the hype, the cheese, the superficial free stuff out there that promises the world yet delivers very little in the way of actual substance and value. Now, the truth is, I honestly can't promise you anything. Like, I can't promise you a specific result from watching this. This does take a high level of commitment and desire, and that's really who this is for, right? It's not for everyone. Some of what I say today may challenge you. It may even piss you off a little bit, and I totally expect that. But for some people, it's going to really hit home and resonate, and those are the ones, obviously, that I'm speaking to right now the most. So what I can tell you is that this video series is going to be very different from just about everything else that's out there. As a marketer, I'm supposed to prey on your fear and agitate your pain. That's what nearly all marketers do. If you go on Facebook, I mean, that's what all the ads do. That's what all like the so-called free videos and lead magnets do. It's meant to agitate your pain and get you motivated to take action from that place. I've done that a lot in my past. It does work, and that's what I've been trained to do. That's what everybody's trained to do. But in this video series, I'm going to do something different. I'm not going to do really any of that, okay? What I will do is just lay out the truth as I see it. That's what this video series is designed to do. I've been coaching practitioners a long time. Since 2005, I've worked with thousands of practitioners around the world, and I know what it takes to thrive in private practice. I know the key differences between the practices that make it and those that don't. And in this series, it's going to be no BS, no hype. I'm just going to share what I know to be true. Does that sound cool? I hope so. I hope that sounds like refreshing and interesting, if nothing else, because I'm going to be taking a radically different approach than most of what you see in these video series, okay? I want to make sure you get actual value and help from this. So here's what I know about your situation. This is all very likely the case if you own a practice. You love what you do. You are passionate about helping people and you're good at it. And that's not the issue. Like, you got into this kind of work for a reason. You have a heartfelt connection with it. There's something in you that absolutely loves it, right? Or else you wouldn't be doing it. However, there is also something in you that cannot ever relax. Your mind is going a mile a minute, perhaps. You're worrying about money, your clients, all the details of your work, and on it goes, right? And it's like this little, or maybe big, ball of tension inside of you that just is like your constant companion in building a business. Like, no matter what's happening, it always feels like it's there. It never goes away. And if you're growing your practice, there's this tension in you that says, well, I need to make it bigger. I need to get more clients, and so on and so forth. And then when you actually reach that goal, that tension then transforms into, well, I hope it doesn't all go away now. And what do I do to keep growing this thing, right? So it's like, if you interview 100 business owners, 99 of them, if they're brutally honest, would admit that this is what's happening. They're carrying around this chronic tension and stress about their business. And that can absolutely undermine the joy and passion that they have for this work. Have you noticed that yourself? Even if you're relatively new, I certainly noticed that early on. And I couldn't quite articulate it like this. I just knew something was off. Something about this whole process just did not seem quite right. I was like, why can I never relax? And it feels like kind of ironic. And I honestly felt like a little hypocritical. Like, I'm stressed out about this. Like, I feel this tension inside of me, and I'm out there trying to help people with their stress and improve their health. It just was somehow kind of a weird disconnect. You know what I mean? So if you're honest, you probably already feel at least slightly overwhelmed, even if you're not making six figures yet. And you maybe have this voice in you that just, you doubt your ability to pull this off. That was me, totally. Like, that wasn't just like a little voice. That voice was screaming early on. It was saying, Kevin, dude, you'll never be able to do this. And it was just like a total naysayer. Some people, that's very subtle. For others, it's just screaming at them, right? But there's something in you that just has fear and doubt about your ability to really do this at a high level. So first of all, I want you to know all of this is totally normal. You're not some weird alien out there experiencing this. It's just that most people, you guys, they don't really admit this stuff. They don't really come out and just say, yep, this is what's going on. They have to put on a facade for their family or their friends, and they have to pretend like they have their shit in order, so to speak. But the truth is that nobody really does in the way that they say that they do. You know what I mean? So let's look at this another way. There's a part of you that really, really wants to max out your schedule and make at least six figures, right? And you can connect with that part right now. There's passion there, there's drive, there's energy to do that. However, there's another part of you that is scared to do this because of a few different possible scenarios. Maybe it seems like it'll be way too much and you'll lose your quality of life in the name of success. Or it seems like your life will be all about like chasing money, or you'll have to be seen in a way that is really uncomfortable. Like, you'll have to kind of be a little bit of a celebrity. And if you're an introvert, that can be very uncomfortable. Or maybe it'll feel like exhausting taking care of so many people. So you can see how there's one part of you that wants this, and there's one part of you, if you're really honest, that does not actually want this. And it almost feels like there are these two different personalities inside of us that are at odds with each other, right? And if we had to kind of phrase this another way, you want the good stuff in terms of the money, the freedom, the ability to provide for your family and travel and enjoy a comfortable life while helping the world. But there's an equally powerful voice that does not want the bad stuff in terms of all the unwanted scenarios that may occur to make this happen. Does this make sense? So it feels like, in essence, your head and your heart are doing battle with each other. They're in a tug of war. And like I said, there are like these two distinct personalities that each have opposing values and desires. And once again, if you notice this, you're not an alien. This is totally normal. It's just that most people don't either consciously acknowledge this or they don't like to talk about it because it's very uncomfortable. And another way of saying this is one foot is on the gas and one foot is on the brake. And this is the way that most people, almost everybody, not only grows a business, but how they live their entire life. It's like there are these opposing forces inside of them that are in conflict and doing battle with each other. And you can see why, from this point of view, it's extremely difficult to get into a state of flow, to enjoy high levels of ease and success and abundance without just this constant fight and striving. You know what I mean? So as I mentioned, I have 6 steps that you can take to hit 6 figures, and that's going to come in video too. But you can see how this will only work for you if you know how to manage inner conflict, doubt, fear, and stress. Now, without the ability to do this, all outer action steps, they lack what I call authentic power. And this is why many practitioners try things like marketing and do not get good results. This is why many of them get out there and try to hustle and take all this action and become go-getters, but it doesn't really work the way that they want. Like, hard work isn't all it takes to reach the level of success that they want, right? So what is the solution, and how do you do this? Now, this is the big question, the burning question that all of us deep down really have, because it is a human quandary, you guys. It's something that everybody in the human condition has to come up against, these opposing, conflicting forces inside of us that essentially want different things. So this is where it gets really, really interesting. If you deeply explore this question, I want to kind of lay out what the conventional path is to fixing this. Now, most coaches, most experts, even most possibly therapists, they'll tell you things like this. Well, you need to have more gratitude for your life, or you need to clear your money blocks. You need to live in the present moment. You need to install more empowering, positive beliefs. You need to listen to your intuition, or you need to just get out there and take more action and hustle, right? I'm sure you've been told these things many, many times, all the memes on Facebook, maybe you've worked with coaches. Heck, I used to say a lot of this stuff until I had some insights very recently that really kind of transcend a lot of this way of seeing it, which I'm going to share with you here. And to do these things, you need to basically do these. You need to meditate every day. You need to say more affirmations. You need to visualize success all the time. You need to take better care of your body. You need to manage your time better. And on the list goes. The laundry list of personal improvement and, putting bandages on our situation and coping with life. Like, this list is never ending. So if you just step back and you look at this, doesn't it sound exhausting? And it's kind of ironic because the list itself becomes yet another thing that adds to our feeling of exhaustion, of overwhelm. The thing that we're trying to do to cure our overwhelm and our stress becomes yet another thing that causes it. It's very ironic, but it's actually what in my extensive coaching experience, what I've discovered is the norm. And as a coach, you guys, this has been a fundamental challenge that I've faced, because deep down, I've always known this, but I've never really known really on a deep level what to do about it, right? It's not an easy solution because most people don't get this stuff. So this is what I call the hamster wheel of success. It's like constantly trying to fix, change, and improve your business and your life. And if you don't think you're on this wheel right now, I just encourage you to dig deeper, because the truth is almost everybody is, to some degree or another. Some people live their life like 100% on this hamster wheel, and they are just fried. They're exhausted from doing this, from constantly trying to improve their situation, right? For others, maybe it's not the most top of mind challenge that they're facing, but it's still there. There's this deep down quandary or conundrum of like, how do I actually do this? How do I actually experience true effortless flow and abundance in my life? So the problem with this whole approach of this hamster wheel is, if you knew how to do it, you'd already be where you want to be. Like, if all of these things worked, you would already have the success and the ease and the abundance that you're looking for in your life. But you've heard all this advice before, and yet there's a good chance you're still stuck in some ways. Things are still not flowing the way that you want, right? Now, the truth is that most people hear this kind of advice and they try to implement it. And if you are trying to do things like have more gratitude or think more positively in your life, it's coming from a place of force, which means it feels contrived, i.e., unnatural. It doesn't feel like your natural state because you're having to put forth effort to feel more gratitude or to become more present in your life or whatever it is, right? So you can see the kind of catch-22 nature of this. If you're trying to do these things, something is essentially off. And yet that is the advice that is handed out in the coaching world all of the time, right? It's kind of a weird thing, but it's a fun thing to expose because we're all up against this. And it's hugely valuable to expose this, you guys, because if you know how to work with this skillfully, now you can enter a higher level of reality, of awareness that most people never access. So the truth is, you can't technique your way into a state of flow, abundance, or ease. That's just not the way it works. Techniques aren't what get you into that state. Don't take my word for it. I want you to look at your own experience. And if you just step back and kind of assess your life right now, what you'll notice if you're really honest with yourself is there are times where it appears that things like gratitude exercises and meditation and affirmations and all these things, they do seem to help you, right? Like they could definitely seem to get you into this state of flow. And yet there are other times, and perhaps a lot more often than not, where you still just feel like you're on a hamster wheel, like the stress just takes over. And no matter what techniques you apply, no matter what practices you have, you still feel like bombarded by conflict, stress, stagnation, whatever it is, by just suffering, by struggle. And, some people maybe won't fully admit that. And I totally expect that some people will give me some kickback or resistance on this. But I think if you really look deep down at your experience, I've known thousands of people in my coaching work who try their best to do these things, and yet they still feel stuck. They still feel stressed out. They still feel like they're not reaching their goals in their business, right? So look at your experience. What is true for you? And I just encourage you to really reflect on that for a moment right now. So back to the question, what is the solution? Then we've exposed the problem. What is the solution? And remember, I'm harping on this in this video because this is really the basis of your freedom and fulfillment. So this is where I'm going to take a radical departure from what other coaches and marketers are constantly preaching. And what I'm going to say is this: the only way to experience a conflict-free inner state, one that sets the stage for accelerated growth, true abundance, and stress-free living, is to experience it as your natural way of being, regardless of what's going on outside of you. There is no technique that can take you here. Instead, this happens naturally when a deep shift occurs inside of you. This is a big subject, you guys, and it's one that I can only scratch the surface on here, but I want you to do the following for this week. What I'm going to do is lay out a practical way of relating to this information, because I know the big pitfall for this is we can all, very much keep this in our head where we just think about it. We chew on this stuff, and that's actually more of the same problem, right? I want this to sink into your direct daily experience. That's how you're going to get a breakthrough and have a big transformation relating to this material, okay? So there's a ton more I can say about this. There's a ton more I will say about this because it's a big, there's a big context to give you here, a big foundation. But I'm not going to do that in this video. I'm just going to keep it super practical for you. So here's what I want you to do, okay? I want you to make it a fun game you play just this week. Give yourself a few days of doing this. This is not a technique. It's not another item for your endless to-do list. As I've said, that's actually part of the problem with all this stuff. We just add, have this massive laundry list of things we think we should be doing to improve our lives. We never succeed at those things the way we really want. So it just becomes yet another thing that makes us feel like we're failing or not doing what we should be doing, all that, right? This is going to be different. So first of all, frame it as a fun game. It's not a technique. And what you're going to do is simple. You're going to see your life as a story unfolding that is perfectly designed to support you every step of the way in every detail of your life, okay? What this means is that where you are right now is 100% perfect. It's exactly where you're meant to be in this very moment. This includes all of the circumstances in your life, and it includes all of the thoughts and feelings you have as well, no matter what they are, no matter what past you've come from, no matter what so-called, difficult feelings you're holding on to in your life right now, or what stress or things that are not working in your life appear to look like, that from a higher perspective, you're just going to see that it's all a story that's unfolding perfectly to support you in your own growth and in your own journey here as a human being. So there's nothing missing. There is nothing you need to work on or fix or figure out in order to be a better person. Where you are right now in this moment is perfect. And just as I'm saying this, if you're taking this in and you're really feeling what I'm saying, you may already notice like this feeling of relief or just relaxation kind of washing over you, like, oh my gosh, doesn't that feel amazing to like really take that perspective in? It's really truly mind-blowing when you really integrate this into your direct experience, okay? So everything within you that fights what I'm saying, that says otherwise, that says, no, 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 my problems are real, and I have all these things that are not working in my life, and I have this stress, and so on and so forth. I want you to see that this is nothing more than an illusory flicker of energy being pumped out by the mind. It's not you. It's not who you really are, okay? And when you look at it through this lens, there's nothing then that actually needs to be fixed, changed, or improved. They're just thoughts. They're just flickers of energy being pumped out by the mind, and ultimately they're an illusion. They're like this little magic trick that's going on that we are convinced is us, but they're really not. So let's dig a little bit deeper, okay? And I know this is already, maybe a lot to take in for some of you, maybe not for others, but let's keep going with this. Let's just dig a little bit deeper. So in this way of seeing things, your life is being designed from a higher intelligence that is who you really are. And this intelligence never makes mistakes or does anything to hurt you. And once again, if you really let this in, you might notice just this deeper wave of relief washing over you. I mean, doesn't it feel like really heavy to carry around the burden of there's this thing in me called I, and I alone am responsible for fixing my life, for being accountable to all the things that I've screwed up, for all the mistakes, right? And it feels like pretty intense to carry around that burden a lot of the time. What if there's this higher intelligence that's designing your whole human story? And that from this point of view, it never, ever makes mistakes. It never does anything to hurt you. In fact, this higher intelligence brought you to this exact video at this exact moment in time. It is always guiding you. When you see your life as a perfect story unfolding, allow it to settle into your direct experience. It's not just something else you mentally chew on, right? And once again, there's no technique I can offer to help you do this. And I know this gets a little nebulous in terms of like, well, what do I do then? What I want you to do is just maybe let the truth of what I'm saying wash over you. And that's it. You don't need to do anything with it. Just let it sink in. Let it maybe get injected somewhere deep into your being, and then just go out and live your life. But your job is to just frame your whole life as a story in this way. And you can't screw it up. It's a really beautiful, really refreshing feeling, okay? So here's why I'm saying this. If you believe that any part of your current reality is a real problem that you created, then you cannot access true abundance. You can't do it. It's a direct block from accessing true abundance, okay? And I'm going to repeat that for emphasis. If you believe that any part of your current reality is a real problem that you created, then you cannot access true abundance. And I know this is saying a mouthful, and it brings up a lot of questions for a lot of people, but it's just, for now, you guys, it's just a seed that I want to plant. And I just encourage you to let it germinate inside of you, to let yourself explore this way of being in the world, and to see what happens. There's no right or wrong. You can't screw it up. Believing in your problems is synonymous with fighting against life, which always ends up in struggle, suffering, and limitation. So one last thing here about this exercise, for lack of a better term, that you're going to use for this week, and it's really not, it's just a way of being, right? There is no good or bad, there's no right or wrong way to practice this way of being. Whatever happens, happens. You can't screw it up. So I know there's a part of each of us that says in our brain, like, well, am I doing this right? Or, oh, I think I'm screwing this up. I'm failing even at this. So with this in particular, there's no way you could screw it up, because whatever happens is exactly what's meant to happen. That's how the story has been designed for you. Does this make sense, you guys? And I know it's like it's like a different way to frame your life experience than most of us have ever been accustomed to. But if you really get a taste of what I'm pointing to here, my word, it is like the most refreshing, relaxing experience you can have as a human being. And it's exactly what opens up this portal to what I call true abundance in your life. So even more so, You can't screw anything up. Not only can you not screw this particular practice up, there are no mistakes, failures, or problems as you normally label them. So whatever you're doing out there in the world, whatever decisions you're making, it's all being orchestrated from this higher intelligence. And you, the label that you give yourself, cannot mess that up. You're just out there living your life and going with the flow, and whatever you do, you do. You can't mess it up. And once again, I know I'm going to take some heat from some people for saying it this way, but if you really dive deeper into your human experience, there is a lot of truth in what I'm laying out here. And once again, it opens up a new way of being that creates just immeasurable relaxation, peace, and trust in your life. That's what we're getting at here, okay? Okay, so that's it. I'm going to keep it really simple, really pragmatic like that. And I want you to just play with this for a few days, maybe even just today. For the next few minutes, you could play around with it and then leave a comment below. You should see a little comment field here under the video. Leave me a comment sharing your experience. What shifts did you notice? And even if you didn't notice anything, if it's, hey, it's still just the same old thing, status quo, that's fine. I'd love to hear from you. But obviously, in particular, if you've had something interesting happen in your experience or your relationship with life just feels different from this place, I'd love to hear what that's like for you, okay? So definitely leave me a comment below. And if you have a friend or colleague that is feeling some stress or struggle in their business right now, please take a moment to just share this video with them. I would love to get this out to as many practice owners and healers as I could, because I'm really on a mission to help you guys and make sure that you are doing this from a deep place of inner fulfillment and balance, okay, so that's pretty much it. In the next video, in video 2, I'm going to lay out the 6 steps to 6 figures. So we're going to take a dramatic turn here, and we're going to get into some real tangible action stuff for you that you can implement right away in your business, okay? So be sure to watch that video as it will eliminate all confusion you have around how to build your practice fast. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I look forward to hearing from you. Leave me a comment below. Let's do this work together. Not even work, let's just play with this stuff together. Should be fun, should definitely be revealing in your life, and look forward to connecting with you in video 2. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.